I will be at the Arby's on Milwaukee Street in Boise, Idaho on Christmas, giving away black sucks to underprivileged people of color.
48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking. Growl! Growl! 48 minutes of dogs barking, 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Sucking dick while my mans plays 2K. Oh, you thought I meant my man's dick. Fuck.
That's a deleted scene from Nosferatu, I think.
I went to a guy at work today. He was a big movie nerd, and I did that. I did. You drank the last Dr. Pepper in the fridge, and he just goes, "Oh, you saw Nosferatu too?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm really glad. I'm really glad you saw Nosferatu because else he's been like, why is Brian being so fucking weird?"
So okay. Bill Skarsgård hangs dong in the movie. Am I understanding this
for
correctly?
like 3 seconds? It's really
all right.
Yeah, dude. Like I brought like the KY warming jelly and all that, and it was not as horny as people were telling me.
A little disappointing, huh?
I mean, we'll talk about it more in the breath mint, but it's a really good movie. You should go see it. It is horny, but it's not. It's in a very subtle, like suppressed, like Victorian kind of way. It's not like this isn't like Showgirls.
Probably much like the original was vaguely horny in kind of a Eastern European sort of way.
Yeah.
So it's 48 minutes of dogs barking. My name's Jason. This is Brian. Fresh from our tour of the vomitorium.
Yeah, Jesus. Wow, what are friends for, right?
I'm telling you. Yeah, we had a nice time getting together, recording the Garo Monster Home Delivery commentary track that is available, by the way. If you just want to suffer with us, you can do that for a price at the patreon.com/48 minutes of dogs. We haven't had a regular show in a while. A bunch of stuff has happened. A lot of it happened today.
Simple life.
Well, you know, Jimmy Carter passed away at the age of 100. Nothing really funny about that, except that there was a Twitter bot that it was a gimmick account. Did Jimmy Carter die today? At Did Jimmy Die? On the most important day for it to be factually correct, it said no. And it was then later corrected by a community note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did Jimmy Carter die today? No. Readers added context, yes. He was 100 years old, and then it links to his obituary. So, and then Get Fiscal, Don Hughes, a guy that I'm a really big fan of, posted this. Every post about Jimmy Carter is either he secretly taught orphans English for 47 years and never wanted credit, or in 1979, he gave the King of Siam a shipment of rifles to massacre the Freedom Nuns.
Yeah, a man of contrasts.
Absolutely.
Some would say Jimmy Carter is how we got the current neoliberal hellscape that we live in today.
Yeah, you can make that argument, absolutely, and very easily. At the same time, you know, I think there's a lot of things that the Carter presidency got right, at least as far as like the hope core, kind of like this hopefulness.
He was the I feel your pain president, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if that one aged well.
Which was a line that then Clinton kind of bandied about as well, kind of like, yeah, I get it, man, shit sucks. And it's like, okay, but what are you doing about it, Jimmy? One-term presidents, they got a short shot to do it. Didn't achieve his policy goals, you know. But I think really his life in public service after the presidency speaks much more to what he was all about. You know, Habitat for Humanity until he was 98. You know, he kept giving back, you know. And, you know, they claim that he single-handedly eradicated the pygmy fly.
Yeah, I think you mean pygmies.
No. Hold on.
In New Guinea.
No.
He went down there with a elephant rifle, just blast away those guys.
It was the guinea worm. Excuse me.
The guinea worm. I don't know if we can say that.
Very different. Yeah. Very different. Woo.
My dad. That's what my grandpa used to call the guys at the auto shop.
Oh boy. So anyway, the eradication program was a success. They got
Wow.
they got rid of that. One thing that you will not hear Jimmy Carter ever say is, well, anything that Elon Musk says, but in particular this next phrase that I found particularly fun to repeat. Mike Cernovich posting on Twitter, "Never insult the monarch."
Insult the monarch. I totally didn't mean that to sound like the monarch from Venture Brothers.
But it fits. That sounds like the sort of thing he would say. Never insult the monarch. Yeah, and
My pupae twins. And it's just two guys in Ben Sherman polos.
I am loving
Get
this.
your laces.
To which Elon himself responds, "I am constantly insulted on this platform." And of course, Juniper at Can't Ever Die. This is a drill tweet. Lol overruled, posting, "This is the funniest thing he's ever posted." Mark Van Ranst saying, "Come to Blue Sky." But then everyone on Blue Sky now posting a picture of themselves or something else as "I'm constantly insulted on this platform." I found a TikTok live stream of someone with a Kermit the Frog puppet where it says "Miss Piggy divorced me," and it's Kermit like binge drinking and doing coke. And so I'm constantly insulted on this platform.
insulted on this platform.
Yes, Jordan Peterson, you are.
Oh. Miss Piggy left me.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy. I can't. I have to like. It's hard to get that Kermit.
It really is. I don't know how they did it for those many years. I guess years of
I
practice.
guess
I
it
don't
was
know.
probably just like. Didn't Jim Henson die from AIDS?
No, what are you talking about?
I thought it was because or was it cancer? It was like a very like 1980s. Yes, Jim Henson's CIA. Yeah.
Yes. Toxic shock syndrome caused by streptococcus. His last television appearance was on the Arsenio Hall show. Abscesses of lungs as a result of a previous strep throat bacterial infection. Placed on a ventilator, multiple antibiotics, and then died later that same night.
Oh man, that is just a grim description. Wow. Yeah.
And of course, Frank Oz said in an interview, "I think the deal with Disney is what killed Jim Henson."
Jeez.
Is the stress of it. All right.
Wow. That's uplifting.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
It's just I you know what? I kind of prefer if it would have been AIDS.
Yeah. So
it was the style at the time.
Yes. Well, Rock Hudson had just died of AIDS, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Everyone had that on their mind. But yes, I am constantly insulted on this platform. Cernovich then replying, "Not by me." Ian Miles Chong replying, "Heavy is the crown." And then someone else responding with a series of Grok-created AI pictures of Elon eating poop out of a toilet. And a lot of responses about, why are you removing verification from people who are criticizing you? Disgraced Missouri politician Valentina Gomez got in on the action. You remember her. She was the lady running around calling people fake and gay.
Don't be fake and gay.
And now she lists in her bio, "Christ is King, financier, MBA, former Division I swimmer." What the fuck? That's all you got.
I speak the truth, cook the crooks, and save children. Valentina for USA at gmail.com.
Yeah, use that only for good. I am constantly insulted on this platform. Brian, we've discussed online pornography on the show before.
A time or two.
And you may have seen an ad for Jerkmate, or not. I mean, it depends on how good your ad blockers are.
I mean, I know what Jerkmate is in some vague sense. I can't say I've ever gone priced it out.
So it's a webcam site. It's a whole thing. Like they're gonna find hot chicks in your area, the usual, and that sort of thing.
My husband's dead. I do not want relationship. I only want sex. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so the new joke going around on the internet this past couple weeks is that you're in Jerkmate Ranked Mode. Competitive rankings on Jerkmate. Here's one of these is me when I lose connection mid-ranked Jerkmate duos and I get demoted back to Bronze Beater 1. So Jerkmate has a duo versus squad mode, just
amazing.
And apparently let's see, the earliest known was Instagram at the beginning of December, and then spread to TikTok ads. When you're playing ranked Jerkmate with Bro, and all of the goon sauce combines to make a walking specimen of Bro, just truly gross shit. Looking for duo for Jerkmate Ranked. POV, it's the Jerkmate Ranked Finals free-for-all, and all the bros are in the lobby.
Amazing.
Jerkmate Ranked rank, whether you're diamond or, one above all.
Bronze beater.
Bronze beater. I just like the idea that there's a competitive jack-off game.
It's just like the real thing.
Yeah, it's true. Especially when you're, doing it.
Jerkmate duos versus squad.
I'm just imagining a couple guys with the Turtle Beach headsets on.
Yeah, you got your lube ready, bro?
Yeah, I'm lubed up. And they got the fleshlight with the RGB LEDs going in a circle.
Oh god, they're doing the rainbow.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a vivid image, isn't it? You just gotta love it. This one happened just yesterday morning in a fitting image, bringing us into 2025. A Tesla Cybertruck outside of Trump's hotel in Las Vegas fucking exploded. Here's the video from within the lobby. You hear the alarms going off. You see the truck on fire, hearing some additional explosions and what sounds like fireworks. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, apparently a gentleman drove a ways away from home.
A active Green Beret.
With gasoline and fireworks and all this shit.
Camp fuel.
Oh, camp fuel, that's right. So, it was going camping, right? In the desert.
I think he wanted to kill himself because of the things he probably did while he was enlisted at Fort Bragg. If I had to take a wild guess.
Seems about right,
There's also the chickens coming home to roost on the theory that instead of the United States enlisting a draft for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, they instead loosened up their requirements for enlisting. And so that's how we end up with a bunch of like neo-Nazis and extremists and shit. More so than usual, I would say, going through the armed forces in the last 20 or so years.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff, seeing veterans or active duty individuals doing insane acts of domestic terrorism and things like this should not come as a surprise.
Right. And apparently there is sort of a tenuous connection to another attack that was carried out over the weekend in New Orleans.
Deep fried gasoline on Canal Street. Yeah, that one fucked me up when I found out about that. It's like, I've walked down that street. Yeah. The last time I walked down that street was a pro-Palestine protest in October of 2023.
Right.
So I'm just like,
Yeah, very strange.
I feel like these are, in some respects, like isolated incidents, but also maybe speak larger to a malaise. This is starting to permeate, I think, deeper and deeper into our reality.
Yeah, it says they identified the driver who was burned as a guy named Matt Livelsberger, excuse me.
God, his name had burger in it.
I know. It couldn't have been. 37-year-old Green Beret, they say. 5 Bronze Stars, including one with a Valor device for courage under fire, a combat infantry badge, and an Army Commendation Medal with Valor. He rented the vehicle in Denver on Saturday. It was charged in a Colorado town, and then New Year's Eve it was charged in Trinidad, Colorado, and 3 towns in New Mexico down along the Interstate 40 corridor, this according to the AP. And on Wednesday, it was charged in 3 Arizona towns before it showed up in the Vegas Strip at 7:30 in the a.m. So, very strange. Where is he going? What's he doing? Who knows? We don't know. We're never going to know. Just like Stephen Paddock.
He stopped getting comped sushi.
$300 of sushi comped. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's because he couldn't get the sushi comped that he was like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Well, apparently he drove around the strip for a while.
Yeah?
About an hour before exploding in the car park area outside of the lobby at Trump Hotel. I don't know the validity of that or like what the significance I would say. But yeah, just what, but you know, of course, before we got all this information, it was just a video of a Cybertruck on fire in front of Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, and people just being like, "Is that good?" Like, what kind of omen is this?
It's a bit on the nose, don't you think?
Yeah, kind of like one of the people responding on social media saying if you wrote this into a piece of media, it would be too on the nose.
Yeah, a bit too much. Yeah, Eric Kripke's probably like, how am I going to work this into the boys, and like rubbing his hands together.
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be a Voight truck that blows up or something. I don't know. He's gonna figure it out. He'll do it. Strange events. It's a potent symbol, though, boy. If you see that.
The thing also when the video came out that showed the explosion, of course it doesn't help that it's a Tesla,
right?
So you don't, it's like JFK's head. It did just do that.
Maybe it just does that. Yeah.
And of course here in this AP report, Tesla CEO Elon Musk said Wednesday afternoon on X that we have now confirmed that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck, and is unrelated to the vehicle itself.
Mm-hmm. He would say that. Of course he would say that.
It's like, actually, the car didn't do that for once.
Yeah, this time.
It wasn't parked. It wasn't parked in some like Mountain View driveway overnight. That's
where it was
how
just
you
like a touch too cold.
Yeah.
It's a very strange story. A couple of people were injured, and the only person who died was the driver. The glass didn't even break outside of the Trump Tower. So strange.
Well, like fire departments have to have like special tools to like break that glass,
right?
Because it's like apparently denser or much harder to crack open than regular safety glass. Which that goes both ways,
right? It's both okay, great for if you're under attack by people with bows and arrows, but
not so great if you find yourself in peril and then trapped
right
in that vehicle.
Sorry, you're burning alive. I'm terribly sorry. You chose this fate by buying a Cybertruck.
Jeez, it sounds like something from like King's Quest 2. Like just
yeah, kind of. It's like Roberta Williams couldn't have written it any better, kind of thing.
Sure, absolutely.
It's that time again. It's time for a crypto scam of the week, Brian. Yes.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Are you familiar with Feed Every Gorilla, FEG?
I am actually very familiar with FEG. I remember when it was new.
Okay.
In early 2021. And it has just been kind of limping along for years. It feels like the dev team had like a bunch of marketing money and did some weird shit in crypto summer of 21. Like they had like a big Limp Bizkit tour bus that that had like a FEG wrap and just like drove it around places. Like there's photos of it like in front of like the arch and nothing to do with anything. None of it was nonsensical. Yeah. But they had like actually kind of decent branding for a crypto project, then decided to go like real like we're a real real crypto, like this is real asset management or whatever. And then realized that everyone hated that and went back to the gorilla that kind of looks like Donkey Kong if Donkey Kong were Hispanic.
The Donkey Kong needs you to come over and put the decals on his van for his cousin's quinceañera. Yeah. He's just
come over, man. We already got some crispy Modelos.
And my cousin Mondo's coming.
Oh, God.
There's always a cousin Mondo.
Cousin Mondo. Oh, Aunt Christy is she's making her tamales for New Year's. Yes. Real friendly guy.
And they're the best fucking tamales you've ever had.
Because all the women in the family have spent all fucking morning doing this shit in the kitchen
with the hands. But yes, Hispanic Donkey Kong. That's a great concept, and I want to explore that. But FEG token got hacked this week. A suspected exploit this here, according to Protos.com, a suspected exploit of the Feed Every Gorilla token smart bridge left holders down 99% on Sunday after the hacker sold off the proceeds into existing liquidity. The author here of this piece, just listed as Protos staff. That's not good. In what must feel like a depressingly familiar series of events, this attack is the third to hit the project following two separate incidents in 2022. Project's response to the, quote, irregular transactions acknowledged its users' frustrations, which were shared by the team, it initially suspected, quote, a vulnerability in the wormhole bridge, which had previously undergone an audit. Auditor Peckshield blamed, quote, a composability issue from the integration with the underlying wormhole bridge. It is a series of stacked bullshit excuses. You got hacked. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is just truly ridiculous that you've been around this long and you don't have good OPSEC. Somebody got in and fucked with your shit. So BlockSec conducted its own analysis, finding that, quote, only the relayer can register withdrawal in the smart bridge. However, when receiving a wormhole bridge message, the relayer doesn't check if the source address is allowed to trigger the registration. So somebody didn't check some code somewhere, and this allows fake transactions to come and go.
And so they kind of did like a liquidity swap.
Yeah, that's the way it appears to be.
Which is like an old school, at this point, old school crypto hack move.
It says many voiced their frustrations and disbelief on Twitter. Yeah, many suggesting the events may have been inside jobs. This the Twitter post from Deep Dive Crypto. Thing is, they got away with it the previous 3 times. Why not try a 4th, faith, and 6th? I think he meant 5th, but yes, they're not believing the hype, I guess. Now, it doesn't say what the hackers got away with, but
it does say what they got away with. 712 BNB.
Oh, okay.
73 ETH and 96 ETH. That 73 is on Base, and the 96 was on the Ethereum chain. So that's a little over $1 million.
A little over $1 million. Feels like small potatoes. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that project's been struggling for a minute.
So there wasn't much to get, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they kind of been dead, and they've been kind of just mulling around doing stuff. They are not what I would call a strong second cycle project.
So why would a project that's limping along like this be a target for some malicious actor? It feels like it's just kicking you while you're down.
Oh, because it's easy. Because you're going where people aren't looking.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Either you go where the liquidity is or where the opportunity is.
Right, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, why don't you go where the money is? This, doing all this.
But I mean, like, doing all that for $1 million, I mean, that's easy money.
I guess so. I hadn't thought about it that way. I was just thinking, like, you could have gotten a lot more if you're going after somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. And that's okay. It's part of my role, I guess, on this segment of the show.
Yeah. When did this happen again?
This here was listed as Sunday, which would have been the 30th. It was before the new year.
Oh, wow. I'm amazed I didn't hear about this. Feed every gorilla, importantly, the hacker gorilla.
99% dump, though. That does feel good if you get almost all of it out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was a really
out your doo-doo ass.
That was a really stupid doo-doo joke. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I was trying to inject some levity, but I didn't really know what I was saying.
Oh, you're just shitting out your ass.
As usual. Well, speaking of shitting out your ass, this week's main topic is something that I don't know if you were around for, but I certainly was. And it feels bad to even say the name of the website, the Tard Blog, Brian.
Excellent.
Oh, the Tard Blog. Yes. It's so hard. It's where to begin.
For some reason, I thought we were doing the I hope they serve beer in hell guy.
Tucker Max is involved in this.
Okay. So this is one of my favorite things I've ever heard on a podcast was an early episode, Come Town, where Nick Mullen's talking about how for a while Jim Gaffigan's email for booking was an AOL address.
Oh, no.
So Nick Mullen messaged him on AIM with a link to Tard Blog. Like, hey, you should check this out or something along those lines. And Jim Gaffigan responds with like, I'm not upset or offended, but I have to go now. And walked off.
Okay, so in doing research for this show, I'm ashamed to have this in my search history for the whole Tard Blog, but there are several mirrors. Some people have gone through and re-uploaded the entire site. It's 80, 90-something blog posts that made up the bulk of the site. It was originally hosted at tardblog.org, and it was written by the pseudonymous Reedy Sped. Sped, short for special ed, right? The basic premise behind the site is that Reedy Sped, again, a pen name, a nom de plume, is a special ed teacher who is simply telling stories about the kids in her class. From the FAQ on one of the mirrors, why doesn't Reedy Sped quit or get another job? Believe it or not, Reedy does like her job. In her own words, quote, because I love it, I love kids. I enjoy knowing that I am enriching the lives of my kids each and every day. The hundreds of cards I have from my kids and their parents is proof of this. I love to chase the kids, mess with them in a nice way, peekaboo and shit. Also, it is nice because the kids believe anything I tell them. For instance, it is a well-known fact in my class that I, in fact, built the school in 3 days by myself. I could use my degree, which is in no way related to my profession, and do something else. My friends always ask me, why don't you use your degree and make some real money? But this would not allow me to do several things that I like. For instance, 1, laugh at my life on a daily basis. 2, eagerly await the daily smorgasbord of unusual events. 3, lead an entire class to believe I am the best person in the world. 4, order people, aides, twice my age to do shit for me. And no, I don't make a lot of money. This does not bother me or even slightly persuade me to change careers. As long as I have money to drink myself into a stupor 4 nights a week and wear nice shit, I don't care. I will never quit my job because I love it. Now, their job is, as noted, a special ed teacher.
Sure.
From 2002.
Boy, that's some tiny text.
Reedy's favorite tard. Last year I had the best tard ever, but sadly she moved away over the summer. I always think about her. She was always so happy. She smiled, did whatever you said without question, and never ever abused me. She was cute, too. She had cerebral palsy that caused her to sway randomly and bob her head around for no apparent reason. She also loved me. One day I got mad at her because during typing time she was messing around and pressing down a bunch of keys at once, going real fast, etc. I told her I was disappointed in her and she started to cry. I actually feel bad about it. The only thing that really bothered me about her was that she asked lots of random, pointless questions and at unacceptable times. This was the scenario one particular day last year. I was working one-on-one with her, doing sequencing activities. Her and I are the only people in the entire room. She is continually asking me, Miss Sped, what did you do over the weekend? First of all, she is unable to comprehend anything complex. Complex includes past tense, future tense, and basic language recognition and association. Secondly, if I honestly told her about the debaucheries of my weekend, I would have been fired on the spot. Anyway, I'm trying to do the lesson with her, and she keeps asking me about my weekend. I would make up a few simple activities like going for a walk or brushing my teeth and tell her I did them. She would then ask, what else did you do over the weekend? Over and over and over again. We were getting nothing done. It was a hot day outside. The classroom was hot because the AC was not working properly, and I was getting angry. She then looks at me and says, Miss Sped, what did you eat over the weekend? After half an hour of her, this question put me over the edge. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, poop. She gasped, totally in disbelief of what I had just said, and responded, Miss Sped, I'm going to tell your mom on you. That is the end of the post. Now, some may question why they use the word tard. This is answered in the FAQ. The FAQ, why do you use the word tard? Isn't that a horrible thing to call them? We decided to use the word tard because it's not a word. We picked it for this reason, and thus we assign our own meaning to the word tard. When using tard, we do not necessarily mean retarded, stupid, slow, or any such word that carries a negative connotation. We did not call this the retard blog or the really stupid kid blog because that's not what it is. This is a journal written about the daily happenings in a special education / behavioral disorder classroom. Some of the kids are autistic, some have neuroses, some have run-of-the-mill behavioral disorders. We are assigning the word tard to all of them as a way of classifying them all together. For instance, when Reedy says something about her tards, she is referring to everyone in her class. Now, I don't think this holds water because it sounds just like what it sounds like. Right? It sounds like they're trying to get around, you said the bad word.
Right.
Yeah, if you think it's a derogatory word, that's your problem, not ours, and reflects the biases and issues you bring to the table, not us. Now, that feels very confrontational for no reason. All right, sure. You know, it's caused a bit of a consternation all across the web. This here, the Johns Hopkins newsletter, wrote a piece entitled To Laugh or Not to Laugh by Jordan Wendelt. I've thought about it a lot, and I've reconciled at least one thing with myself. The woman who wrote the Tard blog is not at all deplorable for doing so. In fact, for giving the general public a unique and candid insight into special education, the students in it, the bureaucracy that surrounds it, and the teachers in the trenches, whose daily strife goes unrewarded, she should, dare I say, be commended. The blog's author, codenamed Rita Sped, was a 20-something special education teacher at the time the blog was written. To document and de-stress, she wrote up her more noteworthy experiences in the aforementioned Tard blog. Tard blog is not for the faint of heart, and by faint of heart I mean the unnecessarily politically correct, aka those with sticks in unfortunate places. As one might guess from the title, there's lots of uses of the word tard, as well as the gamut of curse words and cynical humor. The beautiful thing is, though, is that the blog, though insanely funny, is not funny at the expense of the kids. It's funny for the absurdity of the situation, of how Rita Sped deals with the kids, and of those who are not handicapped in some ways, but still manage to act, well, Johns Hopkins newsletter, by the way. I just got to keep pointing that out. Unfortunately, Sped has since retired from her job as a special ed teacher, not surprising, as most special ed teachers last maybe a few years before the constant stress and physical abuse at the hands of their kids gets to be too much, and has quit writing the Tard blog. I've got my fingers crossed for another special ed teacher to fill the gap, but I'm afraid that someone with her same sharp writing and unfailing wit will be hard to find. As for whether or not I am a horrible, horrible person for finding the Tard blog funny, still up in the air. 2006 this was written.
Amazing.
Yeah, to laugh or not to laugh. A lot of people, we're kind of undecided on this. And you said, now, did you read the Tard blog?
I didn't. I knew of it a little bit. I had forgotten about it until it was mentioned on an episode of Come Town a few years, 5 or so years ago.
Yeah, I read it once or twice.
The next door Jimmy made me suck his dick line is it is. I sometimes just find myself thinking that next door Jimmy made me suck his dick.
And so, of course, people wrote them a lot of hate mail. A lot of it is just
kind of what you would expect.
I hope you burn in hell. I hate you both so much. This is the hate. I hope your house burns down this Christmas. What you're doing is sick. I teach second grade, and this is terrible.
But you need to sit here and maybe these children, their chromosomes are wrong, and they're just unpleasant to be around.
Right. You ever think about that?
Yeah.
Maybe these guys just suck.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
vibes.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with their mental capacity. It's just everything to do with man, I don't like you. But they also had love mail. That's nice. You like to see that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, okay, really well written. I've been a teacher. Site's hilarious. If we can't see the humor in life, imagine how painful it would be. It's a great site, a good source of those frustrated with the tards. Keep up the good work. P.S. If you're going to be rotting in hell, as one of the other hate mail writers suggested, it'll be my pleasure to rot along with you. A lot of things from other people that are site's so cool. I donated $10 to the Special Olympics in honor of you. Dark humor from someone who does care. These kinds of things. So it was a very mixed bag. Nobody really knew whether it was sincere or it's so hard to tell. Well, then it later comes out that Tucker Max got involved. Now, for those of you not familiar with Tucker Max wrote an insanely, I think somebody coined a term for it, and it was
it's like early manosphere.
Yeah, it's all this cocky posturing. He wrote a terrible book, which was a compilation of a lot of his posts, and it was called I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. That kind of guy, you know what I mean? Tucker Max. So he got involved with it, and you'd start to see creeping into the posts references to Tucker Max that seemed very out of place. You'd see, the thing I want most for Christmas is the new Tucker Max book. Jesus. Just tagged on at the end of the end of a page. You're like, okay, all right. Valentine's Day 2003, the post is, Tards send themselves cards. In order to assist the kids in writing out their Valentines, I sent home a list containing the names of every kid in the class. Basically, I photocopied my attendance sheet. The funniest part of this is that almost every kid had addressed a Valentine to themselves, to Brad from Brad. None of them had any clue that they had done this either. As they were distributing their cards, they would read aloud who it was to, they didn't even think twice when reading that they had given themselves a Valentine. Here's show and tell. Monday during sharing time, the new kid brings in something I have not seen a kid do. Instead of the usual doll or truck, the kid has gone through all the Sunday newspaper sale ads and picked out the things he wanted. He brought the actual ads to school, giving a lengthy commentary on each item and why he wanted it. Most items were DVDs, PlayStation 2 games, and food. He also held up each picture and showed it to the class, just like I show them pictures when reading them a story. It was killing me. The next picture is Lucky Charms. They are 2 for $5 right now at Safeway. The offer is good until $2.24. I like the marshmallows, and they are good. That is why I want them. Comedy like this makes it all worthwhile. And some of the posts are just signed off with "No one fucks with Reedy Sped and her tards." It's really hard to tell how on the level this person was. We don't know anything about him. Much like text from Bennett. I start to wonder at a certain point, was Reedy Sped ever real? Was it just a ploy?
Bit? Yeah, it's one of the great mysteries of the internet, folks. Was the Tard blog real?
Well, it is, because a lot of stuff about it is obviously gone. A lot of the things that we're reading from are mirrors that other people...
Oh, as far as was it really a special ed teacher writing it, not Tucker Max?
Essentially, yeah. That was my thought, is that maybe this was a writing exercise that Tucker had his people do, because... According to the Google Books page, this is the only place I've ever been able to definitively tie them together except for the mirrors of the Tard blog. On the Google Books page, which I didn't realize they still did. But yes, in the bio, which was written in 2009, he was the facilitator of the website Tard blog from 2002 to 2003. And that's all I've got. Facilitator. Okay.
Interesting.
What does that mean? Does that mean he wrote for it, or does it mean that he just gave them money? It's still unclear. A lot of references to Tard blog and anything Tucker Max related have been scrubbed. He probably doesn't want anything to do with the site, which I can understand. Because okay, some people might say it's mean-spirited or whatever, which I don't think it is. Reading through these stories, it really does. If it's not an actual special ed teacher writing this, then whoever wrote it is very good at getting in that headspace and pretending, because it's fascinating to me. And I don't think we will ever know. Metafilter, brought this back up in 2003, right before the site shut down. And here's a dude, this can't be real. They say the writing is awful. This is a user, Sweet Jesus. It's not even funny. If you're going to make fun of people, at least do it well. Okay, all right, well, I get that. User MMCG. I'm speechless for so many reasons. One day I'm going to blow an aneurysm, and it will be because of my mixed emotions over this site. I will be dead, and the people will say, you know what killed him? It was that website. It's either mean-spirited and sort of funny, or it's a completely inane attempt to troll a whole bunch of people, or it's some very sad people who managed... something I was supposed to say managed, to throw together a website, or maybe a new low-fat candy bar that doesn't let you down in the flavor department like so many others. I think I will vomit now. Yeah, I don't like the name. Sounds like bullshit. I've never met a teacher like this. Oh, really? The quote is, during the middle of October, we had an assembly. It was a couple of homos that were putting on a juggling show. The kids loved the guys, their tricks, and all the type shit they would say throughout the show. Okay. All right.
What a great sentence. Some homos that do juggling.
The juggling homos.
The juggling homos are back. Cool. It's time to go take a smoke break.
The juggling homos. That's the worst opening band you've ever seen in your life.
Can't be any worse than Exploding Cigars.
I don't know. It sounded to me like you had some sort of burgeoning respect for them, at least.
This is if Richard Ramirez had written music instead of doing all that.
Okay. I'm intrigued now. I don't think I ever heard them when they were around. But anyway.
Upsetting. The last time they were mentioned here, I mentioned them here on the podcast.
Best of, yeah, it was best of episode.
God, was that 2 years ago?
No, it was 2 weeks ago.
Did I mention Exploding Cigars?
Yes, you did. You on the best of episode, yeah, because you were talking about Cheek Face and how they reminded you of them. Because you went into a whole thing about Exploding Cigars and how they were so weird and yeah.
No, I probably explained that about weird local bands. God, it must have been really fucked up when we recorded that episode. You know, that whole best of episode was basically, you had like this, you know, this list, and it was like really thoughtful, and I was basically just winging it, like I was like trying to explain like a really hot girl I saw at the gas station.
But you know what? I think both are valid. I see you and I hear you, and I'm holding space for you.
Thanks.
Anyway,
thanks. Thank you. Jeez,
I am married to a therapist. That's why. That's why you sometimes get these moments when, like, yes, I hear you. Tell me
thank
more.
you for making me feel valid.
Tell me more about that. How did that make you feel?
So how did you feel when next door Jimmy made you suck his dick? Yeah, I bet that felt real bad.
Speaking of Cumtown, I was reminded the other day about the kid who gets molested and turns into a cholo.
Oh, a Fugue State Cholo?
Fugue State Cholo.
I keep secrets, Holmes.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Stretch me out. See how it feels.
That's what it was. It was stretch me out.
It's the same episode with Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
Stick it in my ass?
The very same, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The episode's called Scram, It's the Cops.
Okay.
Probably a top 5. The child molesting Jewish, there's a mailman named Thomas Krapp. Who became a baseball announcer. Just like really one of the most lucid, insane things they ever did. He's up at bat, takes a swing. Just
the woke Elmo who's like gonna call the cops on
I want to work
Mr.
for
Hop.
Vice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give girls HPV.
You gotta get out of here. I got my podcast starting in like 5 minutes.
Did you steal my bike?
Anyway, sorry.
I'm sorry, Elmo. I'm completely checked out.
Yeah. Every time I think, oh, we've gotten offensive, I'm like, no.
Oh, no.
Go back and listen to that. Yeah. But at the time, I'm trying to like keep us back on track here, but I've kind of lost the plot myself. I think the point I was trying to make about, nope, I got nothing.
Yeah, no, Tarblog existed.
It existed. Who the fuck knows if it's real or fake? A lot of the stuff that we know about the site is pretty much second, third hand now. There's so many. There's like 3 different websites that are mirrors of it. Like there's more mirrors of it now. It was just the one site before, and Tucker Max kind of disavowed it, I guess, in a way. Just very strange. People, on Straight Dope asking in June of 2003. Funny, cruel, or both? The original poster here, Novus Opiate. A friend of mine brought this site to my attention today. Tardblog. It's been a long time since I felt so guilty about laughing so much. So dopers, what do you think? Monstrous or comical? Briny Deep responds, it's possible that some stories involving developmentally disabled people might be funny, but the word tard spoils it for me. I didn't even want to read any of these stories, assuming they would be offensive just because of the word tard. That's cruel in and of itself. Briny Deep responds to Reedy Sped's, using of the word tard. We picked it. Of course, it's a word most people find offensive. She can't strip it of its associations just for the asking. Errata responding, neither funny nor cruel. The kids are anonymous and would be hard-pressed to understand what connotations the label would have and why it's any worse than developmentally disabled. I didn't laugh either. Like, okay, all right. Yeah, she's a special education teacher, says Fisher Queen, and doesn't know that tard is offensive. I find that appalling. Cosmopolitan, I can understand the use of dark humor to alleviate the stress of a job. Absolutely. It's got to be a difficult career. I also believe that, yes, she cares about the kids' well-being. However, I couldn't get past the fact that she seems to be burning out on her job. The comment that she makes, it's not professional. I don't think the site should be amusing, etc. I thought it was hilarious, so forth and so on. Again, it's a land of contrast. Who the hell knows? Are still, I think it was like 3 years ago on Reddit, at tardblog.org. Does anybody remember this? Takes me back to a much better internet, Pope Hentai says.
Oh, thanks, Pope Hentai.
Mick McLaddy, wait, Tardblog? That's not the one by the teacher talking about the special needs kids they taught in school, is it? Oh my God, Tardblog. Helical Scan. I remember reading it in middle school and going back to reread it later and noticing a bunch of references to Tucker Max had been forcibly woven in. Like the teachers saying they printed out a bunch of Tucker Max articles to read.
Yeah, it says apparently the bottom here, copyright 2002, the 3 Tucker Max and Rhea Speed or Sped.
Yeah, so like Tucker Max had his name on it at some point.
I don't know. It lost the time. I read it once, years ago, and I thought it was funny, but I don't remember any of the specifics.
Yeah, there's the
Cumtown. Yeah, watch that.
They had like a police officer come in to like the class to talk about like molestation or whatever. They played like a video that was like, you know, like if somebody touches you in an inappropriate way or whatever. And they're all watching the video and everyone's just bored.
Yeah, there's not enough bright
colors. And then
colors.
the video ends and they're like, okay, thanks guys if you have any questions. And then there's a kid in the class who's like older than everyone else. Like he's just this bigger kid, you know? And he just blurts out, "Next door Jimmy made me suck his dick."
Oh, shit! Oh, fuck, dude!
Whoa. And they had to like take him out of the classroom.
Holy shit.
And then like,
dude, to know the phrase "suck his dick" and then also get molested is strange.
Yeah. Well, then the story turns out that like next door Jimmy was another kid that was older than him.
Oh, shit.
That had been watching like unscrambled cable porn and like acted out the scenes on this other disabled kid or whatever. But I'm sure this story's bullshit. You know, somebody just made it up.
Yeah, if it was just... Wait, you read this on that blog? On Tard blog. Which I assume is an acronym.
Yeah. Right, for teaching and respecting the disabled.
Yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't find it, but the secondhand story from Cumtown, just as good, if not better. Because you get to hear Stavi laughing. We've talked about this many times on the show before, but it is endemic of an early internet where anything goes, right? And it was like that. You couldn't do this today. You might be able to maybe crank out a Twitter account out of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
I think most people, like, you know, boss of the gym, or... I always go back to the person that wrote in the character, or someone that thought that the baseball pitcher was the most despicable person. Like, that was the worst thing a person could be, was be a pitcher in baseball. That also turned into the like, you know, some county in North Dakota, the sheriff's department murdered my brother.
Yes.
And then it seemed like a real thing.
Yeah, it turned to like schizo posting. Who's like, oh god,
totally schizo act, as they say on Western Kabuki when Carlos comes on.
Yeah, like
the homie Carlos.
Yep.
Comes on and he's like, I'm about to say some shit. It's going to schizoactivate.
Yes, it happens. It's a very real. There's whole guys that are going around talking about the fog is different than it used to be now, and it's got it's got particles that'll kill you. It's like, what the fuck? I think a lot of people had their brains broken by either COVID or the internet itself, or like something broke people's brains. And it's just like if you listen to QAA, Behind the Bastards, or even Knowledge Fight, you'll know that there's people out there whose brains are just, I don't know, like a turd in a soup can. They're just like rattling around in there. And they've got...
turd is dried out.
Oh, yeah. It's been in there a while. And it's like, what is happening to our brains? I want to blame it on lead, but these people aren't that old to have been around for leaded gasoline. I don't think that's the cause at all. I think we just have been in a stew of just insanity for so long that some of us have just gone, yeah, well, lizard people are real, in fact, and the Queen Elizabeth was one, and that's why they had to...
Right there, David Icke.
Well, yeah, exactly. David Icke wouldn't have gotten the traction that he did were it not for the internet. I firmly believe this. Or a Time Cube guy. There's just people whose brains are broken. They're interesting, but they're also like, don't come near me.
Don't you dare look at me.
I've been in jail before.
If I've told this story on the air before, I apologize. But there was someone I worked with who had some sort of, like their brain was broken and they were really inappropriate, like talking about sexual stuff that was like really uncomfortable. They went up to like the nicest person we worked with and was like, I've sucked like 32 dicks. And this guy, obviously raised by parents that love him. Like, just,
like a sucker.
Yeah, like but just a really sweet person. He just doesn't know what to do. So he goes, which one was your favorite?
Do you remember all of them? Yeah, just there's got to be like a Nardwuar for the world-class dick suckers. Do you remember in 1995 when you sucked your first penis? How do you know this? I'm Nardwuar. Of course, we've got to know. Nardwuar, I think, is deserving of his own episode. But
jeez, yeah.
After the Tard blog, after the lovin', after the Tard blog,
the shot jock JPEG.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
Nothing can shock us anymore. We have been to the mountaintop. We have done the worst
we have been
thing.
to the top of the mountain, and it is good.
And so nothing.
I don't know. A shock.jpg called Gimme Shelter.
Yeah.
Really feels like it could. Let's go for it.
I only named it this because that's the song that's playing in the background.
Nothing like a little bit of copyright infringement.
So it opens with a woman.
I need to hide these beans.
So it opens with a woman in a bathtub, stretching her asshole, goatsy style, no ring, and a gentleman feeding Mentos into her butthole. She looks very concerned, by the way. Look at her face. This is from an OnlyFans video from a woman named Slutty Little X, by the way. 8 Mentos in the pooper. The uncomfortable look as he's pushing them in. And then, of course, it's time for Old Yeller, she says, and he goes, it's Yellowstone, actually. Pouring Coke in her butthole with the Mentos. I thought it was going to be a little slower, he says, as he's covered in soda and Mentos, the geyser from her asshole. Okay, now I have one problem with this.
Yeah?
And I bet you're going to guess what it is. Now, you remember Tub Girl, right? Tub Girl is laying in the tub long ways. Slutty Little Lex is laying in the tub with her butthole facing the wall, not the tub. Now, if you're interested in not having as much to clean up, wouldn't you be facing the other way? Wouldn't you?
I guess for the camera.
I guess that would be it. Yeah. But there's ways
she's
around
facing
that.
away from the wall. You meant to say.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, she's facing towards the camera operator.
She's facing the rest of the bathroom.
Right, and the best part is the rest of the video, which is just her cleaning up without any pants on and her tits out. It's just okay. I guess. That's it. It's 10 seconds of like, okay,
sure, whatever.
Because if you listen, you got to listen real close to in the background.
It's just a shot away.
The whole time I'm like, what? But again, the calm face as the guy is putting one by one Mentos into your butthole. And then he does the last 3 all at once, 5, 6, 7, 8. The concerned look. And then, yes, my favorite part is she says Old Yeller and he corrects her.
It's more like Yellowstone. I've seen Old Faithful.
I guess they thought it was going to go up, but then the way she arched her back, it went straight at him. There's another bit where she's kind of on all fours and you just hear as it continues to come out of her. We don't see it.
Yeah, just, God bless. God bless this mess.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, like, if you're going for creativity points, I'll definitely give her that one.
Yeah.
I swear we've done that one before, but I don't know for sure because it could have been some other Mentos in your asshole.
No,
person.
we haven't.
Okay.
I would have remembered. I'm sorry to say, I would have known if we had done a repeat. I would be completely cognizant of this.
Okay. Right, because I've seen so many of these things like looking for things to show you. Because again, 126 episodes, and we've been getting new ones every time.
Oh, and we've got our anniversary show.
Yes. Oh gosh, we'll save that for the announcement at the end of the show where we're talking about find us and stuff. But yes, we do have a very special thing coming up in a couple months. Jeez,
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. Well, it is time for the breath mint then.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
Next door Jimmy made me suck his dick.
So I'm guessing you want to talk about Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Eggers' Nosferatu. What did you think?
I thought it was fantastic. I think it was his most ambitious film, and I think just really powerful and, well, just everything masterful. Every performance.
Yeah.
Lily Rose Depp actually being allowed to act.
Yeah. Weird, isn't it?
And crushing it. Lots of Willem Dafoe just like being a crazy madman.
I forgot he's in that. Yeah.
He's great. He's so good. Alex Skarsgård as Count Olak.
Was it Alex or Bill?
I think it's Alex. It was Bill.
Fresh off his failure from The Crow 2024.
I think he more than made up for it.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah, I know Nicholas Hoult was in it, and I'm kind of like, okay, he's fine, whatever. But those three, Skarsgård, Dafoe, and Lily Rose Depp, that makes me more excited. I didn't know anybody was in it. I barely had seen a single trailer for it.
They're definitely being real sly, and I wasn't even that excited for it until I started hearing like the early reviews and the word of mouth on social media is like, oh yeah, it's really actually kind of amazing. It's got a really great pace. It's a 2.5 hour movie. I want to say 2.5 hour movie, and it doesn't really feel like that.
Okay.
It kind of the thing about Nosferatu is basically a ripoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
So it's the only thing is missing. It doesn't have a cool Texan.
It doesn't have a cowboy showing up in that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the similarities are quite striking.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it so thoroughly. The talk in depth feels like to spoil it. But yeah, God, it was so good. And everyone kept telling me it was so fucking horny. And like I said earlier, like,
yeah,
it's pretty horny. Like there's definitely some horny shit going on there, but it's not as explicit as some people would expect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, Dracula stories themselves are generally pretty horny. Bram Stoker, as much as he may want to deny it, writes occasionally some horny stuff. And I remember the late 90s Johnny Depp, Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins vehicle, the Bram Stoker's Dracula there, being particularly horny. You know, you had some...
It's pretty horny. Most vampire shit's pretty horny.
Right. Just kind of by its nature, I guess.
But yeah, Skarsgård's performance is pretty impressive. And the special effects or the makeup work done for him is pretty great. I mean, the fucking lighthouse is so good. The Viking is so good. The Witch. And, you know, I didn't know if I'd be interested in a remake of Nosferatu. Yeah. But apparently it was entirely my fucking jam.
Well, I mean, it's been, almost 100 years now since the original. I got a nice Blu-ray copy from Kino Lorber of the original with a revamped score. And I was pretty impressed by the transfer. It was like a really, really interesting work of adaptation. They took, the original film negative and went frame by frame kind of thing. And if you can track down that Kino Lorber version, I was very, very impressed. So I'm very excited because that's one of those things I always think about when we're talking about like remakes or reintroducing even just the idea to a new audience. I think some movies are old enough, like, yeah, it's time. It's time maybe that someone tries to do something with, I don't know, On the Waterfront or
Crocodile Dundee.
we gotta get an even more racist Australia.
We need a hard reboot of Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that. Anyway, Nosferatu. 5 bags of popcorn. Would you say? Would you say it was a 5-bagger, Brian?
I'll give it a solid 5 bags of popcorn.
Okay.
Too much shit that looked like it was filmed in the volume.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of turns me off when I hear about that. I'll still see it. It's a David Eggers. I'll watch whatever he makes, but.
Well, I think it's a practicality of trying to do a Victorian Germany. And there's a lot of stuff that happened in Germany in the last 100 years. You can't really go back and like find stuff from like the 1840s because it was kind of all destroyed.
Fair.
About 8 years ago.
And what happened then, by the way? Do you remember?
I don't know. The minions were
they were in a cave somewhere.
What you got?
I have one of the gifts I got as a Christmas present was a copy of what many people deemed Game of the Year last year, and I would definitely have added it to my list. It is the PS5 exclusive Astro Bot. I don't usually go in for 3D platformers, but this one got its hooks in me real fucking deep. It is a joy to play. It is a colorful 3D platform that's also a love letter to everything PlayStation is known for, going back 30 years. It is an extended PlayStation ad, which is very strange, because your ship is the PS5. And then you crash on an alien planet, and the alien takes all the parts of the PS5 away. So you, Astro Bot, have to go on your PS5 controller-shaped ship to go rescue your PS5 from the... It's very brand-centric. It's very brand-centered. But at the same time, there is a lot of nice, deep cuts about things like fucking Intelligent Cube shows up, like
sure.
Jumping Flash. These things that are very early... gaming in the 3D space or gaming on a CD-based console kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember in Astro Boy, the pack-in with the PS5,
yeah.
be like, oh, Ace Combat.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about Ace Combat in a while. And Tekken or Siren or,
mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a bot for every Soulsborne game is in there. Specifically Demon Souls and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, because those are like the PlayStation exclusive ones. Not an Elden Ring. I would have loved to see a little robot Radon, but there's the Yakuza games started on PlayStation, so there's a Kiryu Cosma robot. There's it goes all the way back to Jak and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank, and they got all the personas in there. So there's just a lot of fun little stuff that kind of is somewhat deep cuts. Not a lot of people were into Ark the Lad or whatever it is.
Which was like the first quote unquote big RPG for the PlayStation. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't very good in the mid 90s. I can't imagine 30 years later it's good at all either.
I can't. It's like Wild Arms. It was a time and a place,
I think Wild Arms held up better.
Yeah, I guess that has to do more with like the Western theme.
Yeah.
Or sci-fi Western theme.
Yeah, Wild Arms I think holds up okay. Or last time I revisited it was fine. But really the first like big RPG that was successful was Final Fantasy VII. I mean, Persona is
very niche, and it was, at least it was at the time.
I love that game like passionately, and it's fucking rough. I wish Atlas would have done a remake, or
they did one for the PSP.
Yeah,
which of course nobody owned. Like very few people bought a PSP, and even fewer bought the Persona and Persona 2 semi-remakes. So they're out there. You gotta emulate them. You didn't hear that from me. But it's just it's nice. It's also nice just having a 3D platformer that's not Mario, right? Because Odyssey was great, but it's been a while. 3D platformers either fall into one of two categories. It's either going to be like a Mario game, or it's going to be some shit like a Yooka-Laylee. Right, where they're trying to kind of like, oh yeah, we remember Banjo-Kazooie and how fun it was. We're going to try to make that again, and it doesn't quite work. There's two Yooka and Laylee games, and they're just all right. But boy, Astro Bot, it tickles a certain part of your brain, that wants a Crash Bandicoot, that wants a, there's a 3D platformer part, and they're fewer and farther between than they used to be. Because, every couple of years you get it's a Mario 64, and then you got this and that. And in the absence of another Mario game, this is kind of a great little substitution. Of course, it's a collect-a-thon. You run around all these different vibrant worlds. But what really sets Astro Bot apart, and just same with the pack-in game for the PS5, is the integration with the controller. All the different environments have different tactile feels on the palm of your hand. So it's a very 4D experience, because the speaker's going and you got it's all this little bells and whistles. And you'd think that would kind of get old, but it never does. It never does. I'm just there like smiling, like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is so cool is not a thing I say a lot about games. I'm very jaded when it comes to games. Yeah. So when something comes along and I go, this is so cool, it's like, okay, all right. That's at least noteworthy. But yeah, that's pretty much been the focus of my week, is like trying to beat Astro Bot, trying to 100% it, which I'm so close. I've got 3 bots left. Out of 317 bots you can get in the game, I just have 3, and they're all from the speedrunning levels, which I suck at.
Sounds like a skill issue.
It is. It absolutely is, yes. It's that, and I'm just playing a bunch of Marvel Rivals.
I heard that's fun. I have not really fucked with it.
I just like the fact that it's free. That's a big one. Can't go wrong with free. Then
free is good.
Then of course it's the Chinese app selling your information to the government. So who knows?
Yeah. They didn't know already. That's their fault.
That's fair. Anything else this week?
Not really. Been just existing.
Going in cozy mode. You just kind of
just trying. Just works, and I might let everyone know how things are going for me. My last paycheck.
Oh no.
Had almost 40 hours of overtime on it.
Yowza. Well, that's rough, brother. Well, why don't we tell people where to find you online in the meantime?
Geez. If you want to find me on the internet, you can go to iShotGuidibord, ISHOTGUIDBORD, on ye old Twitter. Over on Instagram, it's a music photographer. If you want to go to a website that ain't going to work, you can go over to musicphotographer.com. Thanks, WordPress update that I can't figure out how to undo that borked my whole entire site. Thanks
for nothing.
Exactly. If you want to go check out my portfolio, which is most certainly up, it's assholemusicphotographer.com. If you want to go to the last and only good media website in St. Louis, you can head over to theartsstl.com. A bunch of good end of year stuff written up there. I highly suggest checking it out. Jason.
Oh, you can find me at many places. Video Crime, VIDEOCRIME. If there's a video crime, chances are that's going to be me, with the notable exceptions of Instagram and TikTok. There I am, Laser Goose CEO. I don't post, but I do repost every once in a while, so you might find something funny that I've been enjoying. You can find me on another podcast that is not this one. That is called Submitted for the Approval of the Midnight Pals. There I play a fictionalized version of, yes, Stephen King. That is midnight-pals.simplecast.com or anywhere fine podcasts are sold. You can reach the show in a myriad of ways, but my personal favorite is the telephone. That's 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO, if you like to spell with your telephone. I am issuing a call this week. Let us know what you got for Christmas that's your favorite gift. Give us a ring. Leave us a voicemail. If you're very lucky, you might actually get to talk to me, but who knows? You can support the show, patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. There you can find our Thanks I Hate It, Mind Zone, and if you're brave enough, the Garo Monster Home Delivery. That's right. I am making that available to anyone who wants it. Now that the yearly challenge is over, a bit of a reduced price there. So go there, patreon.com/48minutesofdogs, and try your luck if you want. You can also shoot us an email, jason@8minutesofdogsbarking.com, or Brian with a Y at 8minutesofdogsbarking.com. We will be happy to answer any questions you have, either via email or here on the show. Well, that about does it for the show. As we always say at this time, namaste. Give mommy a good gut fucking.
Who ate all the pussy?
It is a mystery. Have a good night, everybody.
What's up, dog?
Not much. What is up, dog, with you?